And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Thursday. It's January 27th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody. We welcome you on another cold winter morning, and glad to have you with us. We're glad to be on the air for Bates Ford this morning, 1673 West Main, the dealer that'll trade for anything you don't eat. Our usual two are here. And Paul Tubbs, Dealer Operations Manager, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
I got to say, you were right about the Titans and the Bengals last week.
I knew they'd blow it. As bad as I wanted them to win, I knew they'd figure out a way to lose. So
I don't know whether we discussed this on the air or not. We did off the air, and I had to admit you were right. You walked in.
I don't know. I'm still reeling over that. Better team lost, I think, but coaching sometimes. Somebody always said it's all about the Joes, but sometimes it's the X's and O's, so I don't know. We didn't win that one.
Well, Ronnie Kelly's here. Probably not as big a golf or football fan, but Ronnie, good morning.
Good morning.
You make up for it in selling cars, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, what's the latest, Paul?
Well, we had a good sign yesterday. I looked up and we had a truck coming in, and pretty much usually when we see a truck pull in, we'll only get like a vehicle or two, but I think they unloaded 6 vehicles for us with F-150s, Edge, stuff like that. So, we are trickling in some new vehicles.
All them sold?
Not yet, but we're waiting on Ronnie to get that done.
Yeah.
A big load like that, a new vehicles makes your mouth water.
Yes. As a matter of fact, we had a few customers come in yesterday and they were looking at them. So we may have some of them sold today.
Well, that is good. But I've read a little bit about this chip shortage the other day and how it's affecting so many things. And even yet, it may get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, they started out back in when all this started going down. They said our inventory was going to be back to full strength last year by August, September, and that just never did happen. And I truly believe the future of the car market's going to be something like this, where you don't have a lot full of cars. I feel like that Ford's kind of leaning. I've had to set up a program through Ford called e-commerce, and they blamed it on the chip shortage. But I do think Ford likes this criteria of you come in and pick out your car and order it, and they email you and they tell you when it's being built, and then they tell you when it's getting on the delivery, and then they'll tell you when it'll be at the dealership, and then you come get it. And one of the things Tony and myself discussed this a while back is it is cheaper on the dealer because you don't have 100 cars sitting on the lot that you're having to maintain and pay interest on, but also it's Ford can have it sold before it ever gets there. So I truly believe the day of having a multiple selection of vehicles where you come pick one out on a lot, it's going to be gone, and you'll pretty much come in, build it, and they'll make it and get it.
Does that have much? I've always liked to see something when I buy it and examine it and so on, but there's so much available that you can read and I guess look on the internet and see and specify what you want in one.
Yeah, and myself too, every time I order something online, it either don't fit or it's not what I wanted, or so I'm kind of the old school when it comes to that, but sometimes you have to adapt, and unfortunately they have like a virtual build where you sit there when you're building the car and you can actually look at it and see, say you want certain color interior, well, it'll put that color interior where you can see it. If you want, the paint on the outside, it builds the car to your specs. So Ford's gotten on their website where you can build it and look at it. It's not the same as being able to sit in it and drive it, in my opinion. But there again, I do truly believe the future of the car business is you're going to come in and we're going to order it, and you'll follow it by email, and then they'll say, hey, here's your car, Coleman, come on in and get it.
What do you think about that, Roddy?
Well, it's getting to the point, like we do a lot of dealer transfers, and as we did dealer transfers, the vehicles wasn't there. So a lot of people, they know when we sit down and we say, if it's not like we said it is, that you don't have to take it. But 9 times out of 10, they take them. And just like on yesterday, I ordered a vehicle for your guy, and I told him, I said, well, I was kind of dreading to tell him that it's going to take a little while for it to get here. And he said, I already been reading about it, and I built it on the internet, and I know it's going to take about 6 months, and that took a big relief off of me, you know. So hoping that we would get it before 6 months, but he was understanding. So I think people are getting to the concept where they understanding this, and they're going along doing that. And I agree with Paul. That's where it's going to be. That's where it's kind of going up to, you know.
Well, you're still going to be buying these used cars.
Yeah, we're actively pursuing. I had several people come in. We bought a camper. We've got vehicles. Had several people. If anybody's got anything they want to turn into cash, and like I always say, if you owe money, don't feel like that you can't, because generally, if the vehicle's worth more than what you owe, we'll pay you the difference. We'll pay the vehicle off. So that's no big deal there. But we bought, I don't know, probably 50 cars in the last month or two. People bringing them in, and I mean, it works. It's a win-win for us. We'll get them through the shop, make sure they're good for the lot, and get them out there ready to sell.
And they're, in most cases, getting more than they would have got a few months ago, probably.
Yeah, the used car market, with what you're reading about the chips being on such a shortage and hard to get new, it's really helped the used car market.
We're nearly out of time here. Cheapest oil change in town, up to 5 quarts for?
Still doing it right now, $28.95. Oil went up. Diesel oil, I tell you what, that's crazy. Real quick, if you got a diesel, you might want to find you some oil, because from what I'm hearing, even the old goats like Mr. Dow here drives with the Dodge and all that, the Rotella's hard to find, and the Ford oil's been on back order. So,
wow.
The stuff like that, it's kind of crazy. Parts are at a hard to get right now, but we're keeping our head above water and still driving, trying to get everything took care of.
You got plenty of batteries?
Got all kinds of batteries.
All right.
134.95 installed on most cars.
That's got to be the best deal around.
It is. It truly is.
Yep. All right. Well, Paul, Ronnie, y'all have a good week. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Paul Tubbs, Dealer Operations Manager, Ronnie Kelly in sales at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. They are still the dealer that'll trade for anything that don't eat. All right. Last Thursday in the month. And that means we've got Chris Dowell, our fire chief here, who is live in studio with his cup of coffee and his Lebanon fire jacket on this morning.
That's right.
How are you?
I'm good.
And it's a little cold out there, but it's clear and fairly nice.
Yeah.
What's she saying
She
about
said it's hot.
for somebody from Florida? All right. Well, what's going on fire department?
Same old. Just gearing up for budget season and ready to get rocking and rolling.
Well, you are a county commissioner.
Yeah.
And we talked about the redistricting, I guess, the last time you were here.
Yeah.
And your district did change a little bit. And I got the map out and looked, and lo and behold,
Yep.
guess whose district I'm in now?
Yep. That's
You
right.
you will be.
That's right.
When's this take place?
I think it's already in place.
Well,
It is in place because I gained 1,300 people.
Well, you are my county commissioner.
Ain't that
Boy,
something?
am I going to have fun now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to run you out.
Did you know that when we were talking the other day?
No, I did not.
Well, I think I'm right. You got a little bit on the, I guess it's the north side of 141, Old
Hartsville Pike, yeah.
I don't know whether you got Eastland, but you got Vosswood, my street, and
I got yours and Eastland.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Did you get
I got
cars?
Eastland. I got Eastland all the way back up to the next street. That's Marks that cuts across, right?
Mayfair.
Mayfair. Okay, it comes across Mayfair
Yeah.
and comes back out over on that what is it?
Mark Circle?
No.
The next one,
Yes,
yeah.
that one.
Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Yeah.
It comes out.
And
no,
you
is it-
just got just a little insert.
just
there.
that little bit right there, and then it goes up Hartsville Pike, and then I take in all the left side or right side of Hartsville
Yeah.
Pike, Johnson Heights, and all that.
How
So,
far out?
all
You
the
don't
way
go
out.
Centerville, do you?
I go all the way out that way. I go to Rogers Road.
Okay.
Yeah, Rogers,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, it's
I
about
go to
halfway,
Rogers
a
Road.
little over halfway to Centerville.
Yep, and then that Rogers Road splits. I got
Yeah.
right side, and somebody else has got
You've
left.
still got all Tucker's Crossroads.
Got all the Tucker's
Yeah.
Crossroad and part of Watertown now.
You get over to the county line on 141 up to Grant nearly.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I had that already,
Okay,
but yeah,
right.
I'm touching the Smith County line from I guess you'd say Bellwood to
What
Watertown.
about the radio station here? Is it in your district?
No, it is not. No,
okay.
It is not.
All right.
It is not.
Oh, well, you've already qualified to run again.
I pulled my petition and I'm getting my signatures now. So
How many signatures you have to have? Just 25, isn't it?
25,
But you get more than that in case they're not all valid.
I've had 75 to 100 people that's ready to sign, but I just told them, hang on, I just need you to early vote and get in there. So.
I remember one time I was asked to sign a qualifying petition, and I was wondering, and somebody said, well, that doesn't even mean you're going to vote for me.
Right.
It just means you're a qualified voter and you can sign my petition.
That is true. I mean,
and I remember
people
a friend of mine said, I'll sign anybody's petition. That wants
Right,
to run
that's
it.
exactly right. A lot of people won't sign it, but those names get kicked out if they're not in your district.
Well, we're all ready to break time here, and we'll find some more to talk about when we come back with Chris Dowell, our fire chief and county commissioner here on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. The #1 selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's already a little sluggish, sometimes 65 south, trying to get down through Robertson County. That's just been crazy the last week or so. William Turner Parkway at Cane Ridge at South Nashville. That wreck does have some injuries. And 24 westbound near Harding Place. Trying to move that crash over to the side from earlier. That's just, it's moving through there, though. That's the key word. It's moving. Hey, PensacolaBeach.com's got everything you need to book your next getaway. You deserve a vacation. Log on to PensacolaBeach.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on a Thursday morning. Chris Dowell is with us. Anything new from the fire department, really?
No, we got some stuff in the works right now that we have to get done, or the mayor's wanting us to get done. So can't really go into detail about it right now. But once it gets started, then everybody will know, and then we'll go into detail about it. How about that? That's saying a whole lot to say nothing.
Well, it's you didn't enlighten me very much.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But,
it didn't enlighten me much either, having to do it. So
If the mayor wants it done, I guess that's
it's
his.
solely going to be, if he wants it done, that's what we're going to do.
You hiring?
No, not right now. I need to be, but not right now. I'm hoping maybe in July, maybe if I get, council sees fit to turn around and add on to the fire department. We've added on to the building part, so now it's time to add on to the departments again.
This brings up two things. I may be interrupting you here,
No,
but,
it's all right.
I'm thinking fast this morning. We have this shortage, especially with WEMA,
Yeah.
and then they're building 2 new stations.
Correct.
You're not building one. You don't seem to have a shortage of employees. Of course, you're not really hiring.
We are. We're short. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
we're short from last budget. So, but and we discussed that before, and everybody's short. Put it this way.
Okay,
Once you keep-
but I mean, you don't. You're not having to close stations because you don't have enough people there.
I'm running off overtime.
Yeah.
I just go ahead and tell you, and so is a lot of the other ones. But here's the thing. Let me just give you an insight of why Weymouth is so tight like they are. They're short-handed, okay, and then once they're short-handed, then you give them overtime money. Everybody thinks that fixes the problem, okay? But when you start working those employees that are coming in working 48, 96, not with their families, and on and on and on. I can give you a number of reasons why that's not the way to do things, because you're going to start ruining families. When they're not at home with their kids or their wives, then you start ruining families. So we got to do something. Throwing money at it, part-time or overtime money, is not a fix. And I've got a big budget coming up in mind right now. My guys are tired. I'll just be honest with you.
Well, we keep talking about the growth, and I know a lot of times in management, your employees depend on in your situation, if you've got so many people that the regulations, or at least suggested way of doing things, is to have so many firemen for so many population.
Yes.
Going by the numbers, so to speak.
Going by the
numbers.
numbers.
And you can get by with that, cutting down on that a little bit, but at some time, if you don't increase, then you're putting
but I mean,
people
but
at risk.
the I guess you'd say the naysayers is the city of Lebanon has 38,000 people in it. Now you tell me that if you believe that there's 38,000 people in the city of Lebanon. Well,
why wouldn't I believe it?
yeah, there's probably, I'm going to say they might miss it by 10,000. There's probably 48,000 people in Lebanon, because you can't pull out anywhere without, having to wait. And to get across town, it's miserable. So those numbers, I don't know that, I don't even know when the census numbers that come back the last time, I think it's showing 39,000, and I know that's got to be wrong. That's got to be wrong, because these people are moving in here from everywhere.
Well, there's a period of time. It was in 2020, when every 10 years we're supposed to do that.
That's exactly right.
But that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2 years
started.
ago. That's right. When we started, I don't know what the final number is, and nobody can tell me what that final number is. I think everybody's got the same speculation that I do, that those numbers are not right. You know what I mean? So, and the mayor and I have talked about it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Just don't go out far as space wise. Don't make me drive further to these places. But you can pack 100,000 people in here if you want to. Just give me enough people to take care of. That's the same with everything, and he knows that. You got trash pickups. You got all of that stuff. You can't just bring them in and say, okay, here you go, deal with what you got. Deal with what budget you got. Can't do that.
What's the worst case scenario with a shortage of firemen?
Worst case scenario is we don't make it to those calls, and they get delayed. When you run out, you only got so much, and that's what Weymouth's doing now. They're having to shut down stations. So we're all in this together. I mean, if they want to talk about it, we can sit down and talk about it. We discussed part of it at the county commission meeting last Monday, So whether it's Weymouth, whether it's us, whether it's the sheriff department, the police department, everybody's short. You can't make do, though, with people's health.
I think we have an emergency services committee or something like that on the county commission.
That's right, yes.
Are you a member of that?
No, I'm not.
Would you like to be?
No, I think it would be a conflict of interest. I could probably help them on the outside, and not be on the board, and that would be just like me trying to tell Joey or Director Cooper what to do.
Yeah.
That's just bad juju. You don't do that. So
you prefer not to be on?
I prefer not to be, and not many people are like that. A lot of people want to get on there and they want to dictate. Not that these guys are doing it, but they want to get on there and dictate and try to tell people what to do or whatever. I'm willing to help you, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. As county commissioners, that's what we're supposed to be doing. As city council, that's what we're supposed to be doing. You gotta back the product that you're putting out there one way or another. You can't have it both ways.
You were mentioning overtime a while ago. How are you budget wise? Now here we are in January. Actually, January is nearly over, so we're almost 7 months through the fiscal year. You got 5 months to go. How are your numbers looking as far as expenditures and line items and this sort of thing?
I'm over. I go ahead and tell you I'm over, and one of those line items is overtime, which, that's to be expected. We talk to I always call him, I call the finance commissioner, I call him Checkbook. Talked to Checkbook the other day, and he's aware of it. It's on this, for the ones that's listening, it's on this council meeting coming up next Tuesday night. It'll be on there, and they'll have to do a budget amendment or something. We don't have any money, so.
Well, I was just going to ask you. You don't have something where you can do a line item transfer?
No, I don't have it within my budget. No, if you do, you take it. You're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. That's all you're doing in our budget. I mean, everything is blown up. I mean, and it's getting worse as it goes on. So, I've got, I think it was two line items right now that are over, which, the one of them's contractual, which you got to have that. So, but prices go up.
Yeah.
You don't have anything. You don't have people. I will tell you this without calling names and getting into HIPAA. I had 42 that's been out with COVID. So when you start getting hit with those numbers, and you got to cover those stations or shut them down, one of the two. So I elected to go with the overtime, and that's what I did. Plus, we're still shorthanded. So all of that played in together is that number that you see on the board. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, we do have, they call it a rainy day fund. The city is not, as I understand it, not in dire straits financially. It's not like we don't have a little emergency money. I don't know whether this would be something you dip in that for, but it would.
But you don't understand. This money is gone. I ain't dipping into anything. It's up to them to pay it. I mean,
well,
that would be Stewart.
Not your emergency fund.
Right,
I'm talking about the city's emergency
fund. they got money to
Several
take care
$1 million.
Right, they've got money to take care of it. And Stewart, the commissioner, is good about those numbers. So it'll happen. The council, it's got to go to them.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if they vote it down or whatever, I don't know. I don't know what happens from there, but I just know that it's gone. That money's gone. So,
well, it sounds like you feel like you're it's in the best interest of the fire department to keep all these stations open as much as possible.
No, it's not in the best interest of the fire department. It's in the best interest of you, the citizens, to keep them open. Yeah, so let's clarify that.
But you feel that that in order to better protect everybody the best you can, you got to have them all available.
Yeah. Or why would we build one and have people in it? So if it's there and people know where they're at, the neighbors know where they're at. So we ain't shutting down no station. I don't care what I got to do. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to the citizens of Lebanon, and I don't expect the council or the mayor wants me to do that. So. That's just one of those things that you have to pay the piper.
You have mentioned before, and thinking ahead and planning for 5 years down the road or whatever, that we're probably going to need another one or two, at least one more.
Right.
Is that still in your thoughts and plans?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's always going to be that we're going to need one out south. And so, and as congested as we keep getting, I just looked at the MTAS report from 2014. That MTAS come in and done, it says we should have 8 stations, which I get what you're saying is because of traffic and congestion and all of that stuff. City our size should have 8 stations, but I disagree. If I can put 2 engines in one station and run out of there to, suffice that area, then I think that's the logical and the best policy that I need to do. But hey, those guys get paid to do these studies.
4 stations?
We got 4, yeah.
4.
And I also think, I really think that 5 would, have us on the coverage if we put, the equipment in it to run that area. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? And one more thing, I got some listeners that always listen to me and think that I'm way up there and hung the moon. And so Miss Polly Riggin is one of my biggest supporters, and I wanted to give her a shout out on the radio this morning. So, and if you don't know her, that's Mr. the Mayor Randall Hutto. That's his mother-in-law. So
right.
And
listen,
man,
I know Polly.
Yeah.
And her late husband Joe and I graduated from high school together.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, she's fantastic in my book, and I think I'm fantastic in her book.
Well, like you say, we had our ratings improve a little bit.
Oh
when
yeah,
you come out here.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And so Miss Floyd, I can't forget about her. Remember her? She called in. I actually went over and visited her at her house, and so that was pretty neat too. So
when was that?
That was last year.
Yeah,
that was last year. So I need to check in on her again, or check in with her.
She's a wonderful person.
She is. You can't beat her. I mean,
one of our greatest listeners, I guess.
She is one of our greatest listeners, and I sat there in her house for almost an hour, and could go back, and she's telling the some of the history of Lebanon, and sometimes it's nice to just slow down and listen to the previous people.
The history of Floyd and Baxter is amazing. Really.
That's right. It is. And I seen all the rides, or the pictures of the rides, and she had all kinds of pictures of all kinds of stuff on the wall. So it was awesome. That was one of the best experiences I believe I ever had.
Well, Chris, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next month.
Yes, sir.
All right. That is part one of Coleman and Company. We hope you'll keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And let's go ahead and see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $49.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal. Tire rotation safety check too. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's already running slow through Robertson County on 65 southbound through White House, and just like it has the last few days. Traffic's really busy now on 24 up by Harding Place. Here comes that traffic down through Mount Juliet right now on I-40 leaving Wilson County, headed towards Nashville. Warmer weather's waiting for you right now at Pensacola Beach. Book your next getaway. It's not that far. Come on, PensacolaBeach.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Hey, this is Paul with Bates Ford, and our vehicle purchase program has been a huge success. If you got something you want to sell, bring it to Bates Ford for a cash offer. Even if you owe money, we'll pay it off and give you the difference. And on the service side, we got some great deals. We got the Works program, which includes an oil change and a tire rotation, the cheapest oil change in town, the cheapest battery in town for $134 installed on most vehicles. That's Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer that'll trade for anything that don't eat.
Temperatures today will be right around average with highs topping out in the upper 40s with sunny skies. On Friday, especially Friday morning, we could see a few snowflakes flying, but little to no accumulation is expected. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist T.J. Scott.
All right, we continue here on a Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Heather Sadler-Gallagher for coming along this morning to talk about the Pavilion Senior Living. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thursday, where else would I be?
Well, we always appreciate having you. Get a little update on what's going on at the Pavilion Senior Living over at 1409 Medical Center Drive, and I hope things are calm and serene this morning.
They are calm, cool, and collected.
All right.
A little cold, though, but other than that, we're doing good.
Well, I know regulations relaxed some, and I think we talked about that a little bit the other day. You're happy about that. Your residents are happy. Your community is happier, and even the loved ones of those who want to come and visit are happy that things have relaxed some.
They've relaxed some. I think everybody still is guarded and understands that residents in senior living are high risk, and we want we want to encourage people to come love on them, but we don't want to encourage them if they have any signs or symptoms. So everybody's, they've been pretty understanding of us asking, even though, they can come, but us asking them not to if they're sick. So, it's an age-old rule, do unto others as you have them do unto you. So everybody's pretty well. We have had just 2 cases of residents, and so, I feel like with the numbers, the way they've looked over the past couple of weeks, that's a pretty good number. So both of them are asymptomatic and off quarantine now and doing fine. So
great. All right, let me ask you.
Important for us, but even in a pandemic, I've said senior living is still needed in our community, and we're still adding people on our wait list, and we're still serving seniors every single day. I had added 3 more to our wait list this week. I always say after the holidays is when everybody starts looking, and it's true. It's after they've spent a lot of time with a senior and know that, in the next couple months, maybe there's some changes that need to happen to keep them safe.
Well, are you full and have a waiting list and have a waiting list for both your memory care and assisted living?
We do.
Yep.
So, which is a great place, like I said, for me, but also it's not if you need us immediately. That's why you should kind of look into the future a little bit. And there's no harm in coming and putting yourself on the wait list or a loved one on there. And we work from the top to bottom. And if you're number 3 or you're number 13 on the wait list, it may work out for you if it's the right time for you. We go from the top to the bottom. If they're not ready at that time, then we skip. So, like I said, if it doesn't commit you to moving in at a certain time, it commits you to staying on the wait list, and we call you when there's something that opens.
Well, it must be a pretty good feeling. I know you want to help everybody, but when you're full, you're full. But to be totally full and have a waiting list does say a lot about the service that you're providing and the people that want to be there, even though some of them can't.
That's right. That's right. And once again, I said this before, and I'll say it again. I play in the sandbox really well with others. So if we're not where we need to be, I can point you in the right direction. I've made friends along the way. I easily make friends. That was always on my report card, and she talks too much. But I can point you in the right direction, or kind of answer some questions, or I've even called other places and said, "Hey, I've got somebody sitting in front of me, and they need this, and what do you have available?" And I don't mind at all helping walk people through this process. Sometimes you just need somebody to walk you through it.
Yeah. Well,
that's what I'm there for.
It is good to know that you're willing to do that and go out of your way to help others. You do have a project that you've talked about, but I guess with the cold winter days and the snow and all of this, everything's on hold for the moment. But one of these days, you're going to tell us your new vision or the new thing that's going to be happening there.
I am. Actually, yesterday we had 4 trucks out there looking at that land, so I know that dirt's going to be moved soon. Because you don't show up with 4 trucks just to sit there and not do anything. I think they were all trying to decide which dirt to move first.
All right. Well, we're about to the end of our time here this morning. 1409 Medical Center Drive is just past Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Instead of turning in at the emergency room, you go 1 block further, and you'll find them down there on the right. And Heather Sadler-Gallagher, thanks for being with us today. We'll talk with you next week.
Talk to you next Thursday. Bye, guys.
All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to go from one phone to the other here this morning. Let me switch lines here and see now. I believe that we do have Congressman John Rose with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Walker. How are you?
Oh, I am doing.
Coleman, I'm sorry, Coleman.
Well,
Walker, how are you?
I've got 2 last names, so that works fine. I am doing well, and I hope you are too.
I am doing well. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Well, let me say that live in studio here we have your man Ray Render, and Ray does not necessarily seek the spotlight, but he is He's such a he dresses so well. He looks like a Philadelphia lawyer this morning. You'd be proud of him,
Trying to
Congressman.
dress like Paul Stum. It's tough to keep up with him.
Well, we need to, I guess, get right with you, Congressman. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is the redistricting, and I'm sure that that's been on your mind. I think it is probably about over, except for maybe a lawsuit that is talked about. But tell us your side of the redistricting and how it affects you and your thoughts regarding that.
Well, sure, and thank you again, Coleman, for having me on. And we have been watching that, of course, and thinking about the implications of it. And I do believe that process, the governor, I think, has to sign on. But I understand that is likely to happen. And you're right, there could be some legal challenge or legal challenges to that. But it doesn't seem that there is much, if any. Well, I don't think any basis for that. So I don't expect that to last too long, hopefully, even if that happens. So I guess for listeners to know, obviously I represent the 6th District, includes all of Wilson County, so all of your listeners in the surrounding area over to the Davidson County line, and we'll continue to represent this district through January 3rd of next year. So that's important to remember, and we plan to run through the tape and continue to serve the people who elected us to represent them right through the end of the current term. But a little bit later this year, the election season will kick off, and the basis for the next cycle or the next term will be the new boundaries once they go into effect. And so that's the election. So it will be a little bit confusing. The election will be to represent the new territories. And for those listening in Wilson County, and I know you know this, Coleman, but Wilson County will be divided. So where you and Ray are sitting there at the radio station, that should be, as I understand it, I haven't looked at real closely at all the street level data, but it's my understanding that in that area east of Highway 70 will remain in the 6th District. So I'll reach over and take in the Wilson County Tennessee State Fairgrounds area, and then kind of loop around Lebanon to the north and have the northern area of Wilson County all the way over to Davidson County. But I will lose the Lebanon and Gladeville areas and the Mount Juliet area, or the South Mount Juliet area, and those parts of Wilson County. And I regret that. I do believe Watertown remains in the district, and so you kind of follow down that way. Those parts of Wilson will stay in the district. Our district will still be part or all of 19 counties as it is now. The other major changes besides the one that I just described in Wilson County is that we will lose, unfortunately, the folks that we represent over in Cheatham County, as well as Robertson County, and we're also going to no longer represent Coffee County down in the southern extreme of the district. And then we pick up, in addition, so we add some territory, and probably the most significant is a very significant part of Davidson County. So we will come in from the Goodlettsville area and the Old Hickory area, and down through Madison, down all the way to south of the current the airport site and the east bank of the Cumberland River. So Titan Stadium, that area, and East Nashville will also be part of our district. And then going over toward the east, I did previously, the current 6th District includes previously a small piece of Van Buren County. Going forward, we'll have all of Van Buren County. We pick up a very small piece of Warren County, I think only a few hundred voters. And then we also pick up about half of Scott County over in East Tennessee, Oneida and that area, the northern part of Scott County. And so those are the rest of the district remains as it is today.
Well, how pleased or how displeased are you with the changes that apparently going to come about here? Yeah, I mean we know when we redistrict, we're going to win some and lose some, as we say, or there's going to be some change, and you always wonder, is this the way you would have done it?
Well, so what I would say about that, Coleman, and it's a fair question, I would have loved to have kept the district and the people that Ray and I already work to represent. We would have loved to have kept them all and kept it just like it was. Obviously, Tennessee's population is shifting, and the Middle Tennessee area has just been growing gangbusters and outgrowing both East Tennessee and West Tennessee. So that was really what triggered the need to move the map around in the way that it ended up happening. So we very much regret losing we're going to regret losing the folks that are no longer going to be part of the 6th District. And I would say, we really enjoyed representing all of Wilson County, and even Ray's home is no longer going to be in the district. I've told him we want him to stay on if we're successful in winning re-election in the new district, but so we're going to regret, and it's going to be a sad parting with those. Try to welcome new challenges. Obviously, the Tennessee General Assembly makes this decision, and they had good counsel on this, and I think they made the decision that the best way to represent all Tennesseans was to draw the map this way. And for Republican partisans, conservatives, we're going to pick up, it appears there's a very good chance as a result of this that we pick up a district. There hasn't been a Republican representing Davidson County since 1875, so it's been a little while since Republicans have represented Davidson County, and so hopefully that will be a welcome change for many in Davidson County, and we look forward to that challenge. And obviously, one of the things that we've talked about before on your show, Coleman, is that a big part of this job is taking care of helping people navigate dealing with the federal government. And that's true no matter what your political stripes are. And so, we look forward to working hard to represent the people that will hopefully that we'll be able to represent in the new 6th District.
All right. Well, we got to pause right here. We try to work hard for our advertisers, too, and it's time to go to a break and hear a commercial word or two. We'll continue our conversation with Representative John Rose in a moment here on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:48. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford. The regular oil change $28.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal $16.73 West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's heavy, but it's moving 24 up through the Hickory Hollow area. All that traffic coming in from Rutherford County down I-40 through Mount Juliet, and Wilson County traffic headed towards Nashville is on the increase. Did see a minor wreck a few minutes ago on Donaldson Pike right at I-40 over there near the airport, and William Turner Parkway at Cane Ridge. That wreck should be out of there in just a few more minutes. Warmer weather is waiting for you right now at Pensacola Beach. Book your next getaway. It's easy. Log on to PensacolaBeach.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
I do a lot of thinking while I'm driving. I think about my kids, my grandkids, and my insurance business. When's the last time you thought about having your insurance program reviewed? This is John Bryan with THW Insurance. We're an independent, trusted choice insurance agency representing several top-rated insurance companies like Westfield Insurance Company. Give me a call at 615-443-3849 for a no-obligation review of your current insurance plan. THW Insurance Services, serving Lebanon and Wilson County for decades.
Attention Cumberland University baseball fans. New era of Phoenix baseball, the Ryan Hunt era, officially begins this Friday, January 28th in Shreveport, Louisiana, as the Phoenix take on the LSU Shreveport Pilots. The first game broadcast begins at 1:40 p.m., and you don't want to miss this historic event. I'm Randy Salas, and along with Coach Woody Hunt, we'll bring you all the action. 2 games on the 28th at 1:40 and 5, and 2 on the 29th at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Tune in to WCOR 1490 AM, WANTFM.com, or GoCumberlandAthletics.com.
Still working on that, but All right, we continue here on this Thursday morning. Congressman John Rose is with us by phone this morning, but he is a busy man representing the 6th Congressional District. And as I mentioned earlier, Ray Render is his man in our area here, and Ray is in studio. And that's one of the things that Congressman seems so nice that Ray will come here just in case we have a problem. If you had a flat tire on the road and couldn't get to the phone or whatever happens, he's right here so that we got somebody to talk to, and that's really nice to have a backup. But I got to always put in a good word for him. He's everywhere, and I think he does a great job for you.
Well, thank you.
Let's get back to another thing I wanted to talk about this morning, the voting bill, and that may not be exactly the title of it, but there's been a move afoot, and I think this is something that the president has been pushing along with a lot of the leading Democrats to enact a voting law that would change a lot of things. And I know you're concerned about this, and you're up to date on it. So enlighten us a little bit as to this and your opinion about what it would cause, what it would do if this should pass.
Well, so thank you for that question. We have actually in the prior Congress and this Congress, we've passed this one version or another of this so-called voting rights legislation, I think now 3 or 4 times, and they divided it, or have two bills this time, H.R. 1 on the House side and H.R. 4, which we passed on a partisan basis. I say we passed it, the House passed it, and it passed with no Republican votes, as I recall. And it had passed in the previous Congress. And the Democratic sponsors call it voting rights legislation. I think it would be more appropriate to describe it as voting rules legislation. And an important distinction there, not really dealing here with whether someone has the right to vote. We're dealing with the kind of particulars of how you vote and what the requirements are in order to get the franchise in order to be able to vote. And so, a whole raft of provisions in this legislation that I think would be troubling to almost anyone who, pulls back the cover and looks at what's under the surface of this. And so, if you like the kind of dysfunction that you've seen in some of the states around the country where they have trouble counting the election results after the elections, you'll remember last time it took until, I think, February for my friend Claudia Tenney from New York to find out that she'd been elected to Congress. By contrast, I knew, and we all knew in Tennessee who had won all of our elections on election night before we went to bed. And I think that's what we want. There are a lot of values that have to be vindicated, that have to be served when you are dealing with elections. And certainly we want everyone who has the right to vote to get to vote. But we also want to be sure we can trust the results, and we want to be sure that people who aren't supposed to be voting are not allowed to vote. And so that's kind of the balance. And so the Democrats have proposed here a series of proposals that range from things like forcing, same-day registration to be allowed, which, of course, introduces questions about then whether those are the right votes and if they're being cast at the right place, and that slows down the process. They want to have it so that you don't really have to identify yourself, or that you have to have very, hard to verify identification if you have any at all. And so those are things that I think all Tennesseans would, or most Tennesseans would agree we don't want. We just can't have a world where we can't trust our election results. We've had trouble in the past with elections here, so we know. But right now, we know what those challenges are, but we don't want to go back in that direction. And so the Democrats have been pressing this agenda. One of the other provisions I should mention is that this would provide for public financing of elections. So taxpayers that are listening, we'd all be footing the bill for the candidates' campaigns. if they met the minimum criteria, then there would be a 1-for-5 match coming from taxpayers, a 5-to-1, I should say. So every dollar the candidate raised, the taxpayers would chip in $5 to pay for their advertising and their signs and their campaign expenses. And so again, that's not something that I think we want to embrace. And again, a myriad of other provisions that I think, frankly, undermine election rules, again, that undermine the ability to administer the process. Restrictions on cleansing the voter rolls of people who've died or people who've moved out of state, things of that sort. And frankly, most of this doesn't make any sense. And, it can't be defended on a item-by-item basis. The Democrats have kind of shamelessly tried to make this about race, and try to make it appear as though somehow opposing this is about trying to deny the voting rights to people of minority races, and that nothing could be further from the truth. I think Ron DeSantis, in some ways, maybe put this best. We'd welcome any rules that make it easier for people to vote, as long as we can be sure that the people who are voting are supposed to be voting. And I think we all would view it that way. At the end of the day, Coleman, there's ultimately some trade-offs there, right? I mean, if you want to secure the vote and make sure that people are voting that should be voting, then there have to be some procedures that you might say make it a little bit slower. Just like getting on an airplane, you have to present your identification, and they want to make sure you're the right person that's getting on that airplane, and that's we need to be at least secure with our voting, which is far more important, you might say, to the democracy and to the republic than whether or not we've let the right person on an airplane.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit again here. The word came out yesterday, I believe, that we're probably going to have resignation of one of our Supreme Court justices and an opportunity to put someone else in, and that's created quite a stir. I don't think the official resignation has been announced yet, but word has leaked out, and all kind of it's been in the news already, and a lot of talk about that. What's your thoughts regarding that?
Well, of course, as we know, it's the prerogative of the current sitting president to make a nomination for an open seat on the Supreme Court, and so we all know probably what to anticipate. I think Justice Breyer has actually not announced yet, so this is a leak, I gather, from the reporting I've seen, and but he has not disavowed it. So apparently he is planning to retire or end his term on the court. And so, as always is the case around these nominations, this has become high stakes. I would tell you I don't think it necessarily should be, because we shouldn't have, to the degree that it has been, politicized the court in the way that it unfortunately has become. But that is where we are, and so I suspect that the president will try to nominate someone who he believes will vindicate the progressive and most liberal values that we see being demonstrated by the Democratic Party and by the president in his first year in office. And so that is likely to create some controversy. As you know, the Senate's divided 50-50, with the vice president casting a tie-breaking vote. Also, you know that the long-standing filibuster that used to apply to U.S. Supreme Court nominations that's been removed. The precedent's been set that it no longer takes a supermajority to move forward, so it will only require a simple majority. So, assuming the president can appoint someone that can gain all 50 of the current Democratic votes, and assuming all those votes stay in place until that confirmation period comes. And I think that's probably, that'll be a question, and just can the president put forward a name that can garner all of his Democratic members on the House side. Actually, 48 Democrats and 2 independents, but those independents pretty reliably vote with the Democratic Party. So that it will be interesting to see. I think for conservatives listening, keep in mind that Justice Breyer has been a 100% liberal justice on the court during his tenure since President Clinton appointed him back in the 1990s, and so this is not likely to change the ideological makeup of the Supreme Court, but it will give the president a chance to make a long-term impact on the court by possibly appointing someone who may be there for quite some time.
All right, we got a minute and a half, Congressman, and I just a lot of times ask this in the beginning, but any big thing coming from the constituents that you can tell us their thoughts or desires to you in a minute or so here.
Sure. Well, thank you. And so, I think people are increasingly becoming aware of and concerned, and anybody who's shopping about inflation, and so we hear a lot about concerns around that. Workforce availability from our business people is the number one issue that we hear. They have trouble finding people, and of course we're all experiencing in one way or another the breakdown in the supply chain. Anybody who wants to buy a new car understands that. Car dealers and so many other places you go, oftentimes you see bare places on the shelves, and so we've got a number of issues to address. Unfortunately, Coleman, from the last time we had high inflation, that we can probably expect high interest rates or higher interest rates coming our way, and everyone knows that's not good for really anyone other than people who maybe have money in the bank and are saving that might get a little higher interest, but these are some of the challenges that are on my mind. We've been pressing the Federal Reserve Chairman and the Treasury Secretary, and of course continue to fight back against proposals to spend more federal money. We've put way too many trillions of dollars out into the economy. And then I probably should have started here, Coleman, but I think, the president, took his eye off the ball. We've got to get through COVID. Thankfully, here in Tennessee, I think we've done a better job than the rest of the country for the most part. And I think we all know it's time to just determine that this is something we're going to have to power our way through. Obviously, I remain deeply concerned about the origins of COVID and the fact that the scientific community, frankly, has just kind of equivocated on the rigorous investigation that I think needs to happen on determining where this virus came from.
Well, it's really good to have you with us today. Appreciate so much. We'll do it again next quarter. And Congressman John Rose, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Coleman. Thanks for having me today.
All right, that is it for Thursday. We hope you join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a